What's going on, Fit Fan? This is Jeff from JAC Fitness. With me, as always, is Ashyn and Chad. Chad, how's it going tonight?
Man, if I got any better, my name will be Jeff.
You're not the first person to say that,
You know what I'm
believe it or not.
saying?
I mean,
Ah,
I'm gonna tell you,
it's,
man. If my
it's,
life got any better, you know what? My name would be Jeff, and I would have like 48 kids.
it's a blessing and a curse. Ashlyn, how are you doing this
I'm doing
evening?
well. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. I can't complain. So, if you
Good.
didn't check out our first episode, which was our very first episode last week, make sure you go back and check that out. You can find us on
Yes.
YouTube. You can also check out our Facebook page. We talked at length about not only our own stories, our origin stories, so to speak, but also we discussed new diet trends, mainly Paleolithic and the keto diet. If you missed it, go back and check it out. But today we're going to have a different topic, something that a lot of people stress out about: grocery shopping. And honestly, there's a reason why people stress out. When you walk into a grocery store and you don't know what you're looking for, and the three of us that have been in the fitness game for a long time, we are pretty systematic with how we approach our shopping, and we're pretty regimented, but not
Yep.
everyone is like that. And so when they're not prepared, they go in and they're overwhelmed. I personally believe that about 98% of the stuff sold in the grocery store is pure trash, but that's just me.
How much?
I'd
That's a
say
pretty
not.
big percentage.
That's a
That
lot.
I would say that about 98% of the grocery store is nothing but garbage. But I'll save my opinions for later. Let's go to Ashlyn first. Ashlyn, when you approach the grocery store, first question I have is, do you approach it with, okay, I know I'm gonna go multiple times a week. Do you go once a week? How do you prepare for it? What is your prep leading up to the actual grocery store trip?
I go a couple times a week. Can't seem to do the 1 week or every 2 week thing. I love that people that can do that. That's great. We eat a lot of fresh produce, so that goes pretty quickly in our house. Um, we also buy a lot of frozen vegetables. They're good just as much as you're fresh. I stay away from the canned or boxed foods just because there's more sodium and preservatives in those things. I try to stick to the perimeter of the grocery store as well. And I usually buy my meat at a local butcher. I don't buy my meats inside the grocery store. If I can avoid it, I'll put it that way, because there's times where I can't. But we stick to just a lot of fresh produce. I mean, we're pretty much just potatoes, you know, fruits. I don't know. It's pretty simple for us. We kind of eat the same things all the time, though. Like Taco Tuesday, or just keeping it simple.
So you're kind of a person though that as the week progresses, you kind of wing it. You go, you get what you need for a certain meal, and then you're done.
Yeah. So like if I'm on Pinterest the night before and it's like, oh, that looks
Okay.
good, go and grab. Usually we have those things here anyway, but there's like a couple things I need. But yeah, like we like to try different things as well.
And you have how many people in your house that you're shopping for?
4. So we have two adult
Okay.
daughters, but then I have a teenager as well. And you would think that they wouldn't eat a lot, but they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Chad, you're in a different realm here. How many people are you buying for weekly? And what is your prep like before you head to the grocery store?
I buy for 2 people weekly, me and my son. And my prep is I usually go about every 3 to 4 days, and I usually eat the same things all the time. So my standard list is pretty easy. I get black beans, I get jasmine rice, I get lots of bagged vegetables. I don't eat as much meat as you might think I do, but I'll get like fresh chicken breasts. I'll get some grass-fed beef or bison tomato tacos, or make some spaghetti once a week for Dante, my boy. He loves my spaghetti. I'm pretty good at it. Pretty good, man. I'm just saying, I make that beef just right. I cook it up perfect. It's perfect. I get lots of bagged salad. I eat lots of salad every week. Let's see. And of course, I don't eat a lot of fruit, but I get some berries to put in my Greek yogurt, which I get. I don't eat a lot of dairy or drink a lot of dairy. So I have about like 1 cup of Greek yogurt a day. That's the extent of my dairy consumption. So that's what I do, basically. It's real basic, man. And I stock up on my spices and my herbs. So my go-tos for herbs is I like curry, garlic. I like to use turmeric. of course, and of course Italian spices, oregano, all that kind of good stuff. So that's me. Really easy to do because, like I said, I can make lots of things out of the same ingredients.
Yeah.
With the same black beans, I can make a black bean tuna salad, or I can have black beans and rice with some chicken and some kind of vegetable like roasted Brussels sprouts. So, food is very versatile. A lot of folks don't really realize how much stuff you can make out of the same ingredient list.
And beans and rice are
Absolutely.
pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck yeah, it is.
So what I like about the trio that we have here for JAC Fitness is that all of us are different in so many different ways in terms of the way that we train, the way that we eat, and even the way that we approach the grocery store. So God bless my wife. We have 5 children, 2 adults, so there's 7 people in our house. We do a once a week trip to 2 stores, our local grocery store, which is Martin's or Giant, and then one to Sam's Club. And so our Sam's Club trip is always Friday night. Our Martin's trip is normally Saturday during the day. And so we plan our entire week's meals out on Thursday or Friday, and then we get what we need for those meals, because the one thing we can't do is A, run out of food, and B, waste food, because when you have that many people, you can't waste food. And so we are very fortunate that we have a Sam's Club here where we live. I understand not everyone has a Sam's Club or a Costco. They have done a much better job upgrading their produce. There's a lot of organic options now. We buy a crap ton of organic bananas and organic carrots, and we'll just peel them and cut them and have them for the kids. But we are very prepared, and we are very itemized, because when you have 5 kids, you have to be financially smart.
Right.
You can't just go in and splurge in the grocery store because you went in, you're hungry, and you're buying all this other stuff.
Bro, let me ask
Now
you a
the
question real quick, man. Let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
Real quick.
What's
So,
up?
so when you're going in there, so when you guys go in there, you've got your list, and you're getting ready to go into the store with this army of kids. How do
Yes.
you, how the hell do you, how do you make do it all in one trip? I mean, I know how much stuff I walk out with, and it's just me and Dante. I don't know
2
how you
carts.
do it in one trip once a week
Well,
with 7 kids.
Well, the thing is, I mean, Sam's Club, they have the huge carts, so that's nice. But you should honestly, like, on my Instagram feed, sometimes on my story, I'll take a picture of the haul that we get from Sam's Club, and it is a lot of food. But when you look at it, it's all
Do you
good
rent a
food.
U-Haul to go home?
We do.
Do you rent a U-Haul to go home?
Just the trailer one, not like the one with not the one with the mom's attic or anything. But yeah, it's tough. People look at us all the time when we're in the store and you have all these kids, and but if you look at what we're buying, it's not bad stuff. I mean, we're getting the Kerrygold butter at Sam's Club, almost all of our produce there. They have organic sweet potatoes now. In terms of your carbon footprint, if you want to talk about that, that's not as good, because you don't know where these organic produce, where's it coming from, and how far is it traveling. But in terms of health, they have a lot of really good options now. And so the things that we can't get at Sam's Club, we get at our local grocery store. And the reason why I said that 98% of the grocery store, in my opinion, is garbage is because I don't buy anything in the aisles anymore. We don't buy anything that's in a box or a bag. We don't use any dairy products other than a very minimal amount of cheese and butter. No breads really. And I should preface this in case I forgot to say, my oldest my son is a type 1 diabetic. So that completely changes how we have to focus our energy in terms of what we consume, how it affects his blood sugar. And we've then started to adopt that same eating habits as well. But we do also get our meat at a local farmer's market where it's 100% grass-fed from birth until slaughter. We know the farmers. We trust the farmers. They've invited us to their farm to see the animals. It's 100% transparency. I don't trust any meat from Sam's Club, from the grocery store, anywhere, because if you do your research, it's not all created equal. So let's talk about what to avoid, as I just kind of talked about how I would never buy meat or fish at a local grocery store. It's just, there's just too many chances of contamination of all sorts of kinds. But Ashlyn, when you go to the grocery store, what are some tips that you could give someone to say, here's something to avoid? You don't want to do this.
Don't buy the stuff down through the aisles, like the canned vegetables. I just think are disgusting. just because like of all the preservatives in when I used to work at the Y, we did the Choose to Lose fitness loss group, and we took the people to the grocery store and showed them how to read labels. And it surprised me that a lot of people don't know how to read labels and all the sodium that's packed in those to compensate for taste. So it just takes prep work. I wouldn't buy the pre-cut vegetables or fruit because they're more expensive. It's just taking a little extra time to cut those up. Have your kids help you cut them up. You know, it's nice family time as well, to teach your kids that. I just stay away from the boxed foods just because it's just so unhealthy for you. Yeah, it's quick, but
Well, we as a society are lazy.
we are.
It's
I
period.
agree.
We're lazy. We don't want to take the time to cut a melon. We'd rather just have it already pre-cut.
Cut
We
up,
don't want
right.
to take the time to cook rice. It's just standard out of a bag. We want to put the bag in the water. We want to microwave plastic. It's disgusting. But, you know, you brought up food labels. My 8-year-old daughter is at the age where she now can look at the food labels and look for keywords like high fructose corn syrup and different things. If my 8-year-old can do it,
Yep.
anyone can do it. And if you've never traveled abroad, people in the United States don't realize, like, you go to Europe, it is not a mandate that they have to have any labeling on their food whatsoever. Now, granted, they do things different over there and it's a lot healthier, but at the same time, we're so fortunate in our country that you can buy any food, you look on a label and you know what's in it. For crying out loud, they label water. It's 100% water. I mean, there's a food nutrition label on it, but don't get me started. Nutrition labels are huge. That's a really good point. Chad, what about you? If you're giving some do's and don'ts for people to go in the grocery store, what are you telling them to do?
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you because everything down those aisles is not healthy. There's a lot of health-based shelves that are in grocery stores now that come from reputable manufacturers who make really good products. So there's also things like there's oats that you can get. There's all types of different grains that you can get. There's all kinds of different really cool stuff that you can get. Healthy is trendy, and people are a lot more aware. So manufacturers are catering to people who want a healthier focus and making cleaner and better products that come in bags and come in boxes. So for a sweeping indictment of bags and boxes, right now it's just not accurate at this point because there's a lot of things that you can that are health supportive, as maybe a lot more than it was about 20 years ago.
I see what you're saying, but the one thing that I always tell myself is that food should spoil, and that food
Mm-hmm.
should go bad. And so let's look at bread. There are a lot better options for bread out there now in terms of the preservatives that they put in it. Yet those loaves of bread are still sitting on your shelf for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and sometimes longer. And I'm not talking Wonder Bread. I'm talking the ones that are labeled healthy or healthier options, and they're not going bad. That tells me that
Well, you know why?
although it's a step in the right direction, that's stuff I don't want to put in my body.
But you know why, though? It doesn't go bad because it's sealed in plastic. Now, if you set that same loaf of bread out in the open and in the moisture, in the open air, where all the bacteria and things are flying around, it's going to go bad. So because it's packaged the way it's packaged to be preserved, it's not going to go bad in the wrapping. I mean, that's a misnomer in itself.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's a misnomer. If you get the really, really good breads, they will go bad even in plastic.
In like 2 days.
If you're yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Let me ask you this, Chad. Have you ever made your own bread?
Yes. Now, what do you consider to be really good bread? Now, let's define what really good bread is to you.
I'm talking really good bread. Minimal ingredients. Minimal. So if you ever look up the exact ingredients of like how in Paris, which I've been fortunate enough to go to, how they make their baguettes, it is the most minimal ingredients you can think of. And therefore there are no preservatives, and therefore it does go bad quick. It stales quick. It molds quickly.
I eat sprouted grain bread. It's got no preservatives. It's got nothing artificial in it, and it is sealed up tight, and it's kept in a cooler. Now, it tells you on the package to keep it in the refrigerator, and it doesn't go bad. I can keep it in my fridge for several weeks, and it won't go bad in that cool space with the packaging that it's in. So that doesn't mean that it's not a good bread because it doesn't go
You're
bad.
right. You're right. And the sprouted grains is the stuff that we use if we do eat bread. Now I will say this though, anyone that's listening to this podcast that doesn't have the aforementioned knowledge that you have in terms of quality
Mhm.
of ingredients and stuff, I would be very with today's, and this was kind of going into what I was going to say, when you get into today's FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, what they're allowing companies to put on their labels, things like all natural, which have
Yeah.
no limitations. There's no statute of
None.
limitations for them to put all natural in their bread. I feel like for someone that's going into a grocery store saying, oh, well, this says it's healthy, it's all natural, I'm just going to go buy this. When in
Right.
reality, Chad, you know a lot about that stuff. You know what
Yeah.
to avoid and what to avoid. I almost feel like that's opening Pandora's box, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
They're putting healthy on Oreos and stuff now.
So you can eat more of them.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
have to, and also you got to be really careful. I mean, you have to know what's your definition of healthy. As what is the corporate food industry's definition of healthy, and what is the real meaning of healthy? Now, and the corporate healthy means adhering to the minimum standards that they had a hand in getting crafted in Congress. So that's their legal definition of healthy. Now, healthy, in my opinion, means that it's got the standards that are to support either maintaining health or increasing health. Which food can be your medicine. So while I think it's probably not realistic that everyone who will listen to this podcast will be able to take the time to be as scrutinous as some of us, may be. I think it's good to know what the minimum definition of healthy is in the food industry's mind, and creating your own definition of what healthy is for you and your family.
Yes, and healthy for the food industry is try to make more money. Like you said,
Well, it's the minimum. It's the minimum of adherence.
Do the bare minimum to sell more products, because you're trying to reach that other echelon of people that have been avoiding your products because of the fact that they view it as unhealthy. Like even like a company as crooked as Hormel. Okay, do some research on that company, Hormel's products. They'll
Now, if
say, "Oh,
Hormel,
we have
and
this."
now here's a disclaimer to Mr. Hormel. Jeff's views are his and his alone. Don't sue me or Ashland. All right, Jeff said that, not me. Okay, do not sue.
Hey.
Listen, I literally got a cease and desist letter from the Corn Growers Association because
really?
I said that. Because I said that high fructose corn syrup was unhealthy. They sent me a letter that said that I can't say that about their product.
And on what grounds did they say that?
Oh, I didn't care. I kept saying it.
No, I know. But I mean, I would be really curious on what grounds do they think they can stop you from saying?
Because the letter said that the FDA has determined that blah blah blah, that high fructose corn syrup as part of a healthy lifestyle of exercise can be supportive for blah 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 blah. I was like, bro, stop.
Yeah. If it's so good, tell me why Bud Light, one of the most popular beer companies in the entire planet, has removed it from its product and is plastering it all over commercials. Tell me why.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Well,
because they realize it's getting a
exactly.
negative connotation, and if they change it, they're going to be viewed in a positive light. I'm not saying beer is good for you. It's not.
Yep.
So
it's not bad though. Just saying.
Oh, beer is wonderful for you. Beer is wonderful for you. It's wonderful.
All right, so let's try to let's wrap this up, because we could go on for 5 episodes on nutrition. But Ashland, if you're giving someone one piece of advice, so someone says, Ashland, I'm going to the grocery store, give me your best piece of advice for me to get through that without completely effing everything up.
Without effort, well, just increasing your fruits and vegetables. If that's the one thing that you can do right now and that's where you're lost at, I'd say just increase eating that.
Yeah, that's good advice. Chad, what about you? Someone's giving you one piece of advice. What is it?
Go into the grocery store with a plan. Uh, don't go into that thing kind of ad hoc and buying random stuff that you see on the shelf, because then you're being sold to. The minute you go no plan and you just buy what catches your eye, you're being sold to. So go into there with an action plan and execute your action plan and get the hell out of there.
I'm going to piggyback on what you said, Chad. And not only do you need to have a plan, don't ever go to the store hungry.
Amen.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
when you go into the store, you get those impulse buys. You're going down the chip aisle. I just need to get to the other end for the bulk peanuts and almonds and stuff. And then all of a sudden you're walking by the Oreos. You're like, those Oreos are pretty good. Hey, they say they're low fat. I'm going to get those because they're better than the alternative. Before you leave your house, or take a bottle of water with you in your car, drink a ton of water, have something like an apple, and then go to the grocery store. I'm telling you, if you go to the store hungry, like Ashyn said, you're going to make those impulse buys, and it's just, sometimes it can just break you. It can absolutely break you. So,
or you can have a level 1 protein shake from First Form Nutrition.
oh my God. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. Oh,
if I could throat punch you now.
All right. So Chad, any closing comments before we wrap up the show?
Nah, listen, this is the most important thing that you can do for your nutrition, is to get a great, successful experience in the grocery store. That's where it all begins. If that falls apart, everything else falls apart. So get that mastered and get that right every single time, and I guarantee the rest will all fall into place.
Absolutely.
I
Ashyn,
agree.
final words?
I agree with Chad. Just have a plan, and diet is everything. It really is.
Yeah, and I'll finish it up with just a little bit of time can save you a lot of stress. So, for instance, having a lunch prepared the night before, so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not rushing around. You don't say, I don't have time for lunch, I'll go buy something. And that never ends well. So
Never
always
ends
be
well.
prepared. Never ends well. So always be
Listen,
prepared. Yes.
I've been a lifelong wrestler. I'm a huge fight fan, and there's something that we say in the fight world, in the combat sports world, is that you always have a plan until you get punched in the face. So if you go, so if you go into your day, with the best intentions, but you get punched in the face because you're hungry, you're always going to default to what you're used to doing. So if I'm a wrestler and I'm trying to work on my boxing skills, but I get hit in the face, I'm going to go back to wrestling. So my goal is to not get punched in the face so I can wrestling plan, right? So same thing goes when you're in the grocery store. Go into the store with a plan, so you're not going to get sold to by the shelves, and go into your day with a plan, so you're not going to get sold to by that little snack machine in your employee lounge.
Absolutely. And hey, that's a great way to end the show. Don't get punched in the face. I think that's figurative and literal in this case. But folks, if you've listened to the first 2 episodes, we talked a lot about nutrition. It's because it's the foundation of everything else you do. You can't work out of a bad diet, but we will be talking about working out. We will be talking about different ways to challenge yourself in the gym, and different theories and methods and all that stuff. Check us out next week for another episode of the JAC Fitcast. We'll see you next time.